The story begins with the fact that on a very rich and fertile land there is an empire that has a very long history. The first empress from this family had everything. She had signs of origin from a noble family. She was very beautiful, she had blonde hair, it shone like the rays of the sun. And her eyes were like a blue ocean. But only members of this family received a blessing, all because blue blood flowed in their veins. Everyone loved them without exception. But one day in another empire something happened that no one could have expected. The emperor's concubine gave birth to a child. All children had red hair. But this child was not like everyone else. And this child had all the features that are present in the members of the imperial family. The child had blonde hair and blue eyes. Everyone was surprised that this was the daughter of a concubine. And no one understood whether an illegitimate child could be so similar to the children of the monarch. The nobles talked about it wherever they could. But the emperor remained silent. Until this news completely disappeared from the heads of all other emperors. The mother of the child always hated and beat him. The girl always tried to come to terms with this terrible hair color, but she was always humiliated for them. The mother hated the poor girl for her appearance, and even her father did not want to see her. She was not loved like her brother, who had red hair, and their mother always smiled at him. The little girl did not know how to be good to her parents. One day the girl had a very strange dream. Then she was 8 years old, and in a dream 18. Soon her birthday was to take place. But when she entered the room she saw a very terrible picture. She entered the room because her mother was looking for her, but as soon as she was inside she became uneasy. On the floor she saw a maid who had died. She wanted to tell her mother everything, but suddenly she heard her voice behind her. Mom said that the girl should not worry because she is her dear daughter. Her mother did not behave as usual. The girl immediately suspected something. Her mother spoke as quietly as possible. The girl's mother said that she must help her, and this is her last chance. The little girl always told the maid that her mother was always very cruel to her, and when the maid tried to talk to her about it, she immediately took out a knife and stuck it in her. The girl did not understand what was happening. After that, the girl's mother began to tell her that she had to be quiet, but she did not listen to her. And as soon as the girl turned 18, she received a gift from her mother for her birthday, death. The girl did not want to die, and the girl was very frightened and got out of bed. With her cry, she was frightened of her maid. The maid said that despite her many attempts to wake her up, this is the first time the girl has woken up on her own. The maid reminded the girl that today was her brother Louis' birthday. But the girl did not understand what she was talking about and still could not move away from her dream. She did not understand whether this room was hers and whether she had been here before. For some reason, this place turned out to be very familiar. When the girl looked at her hands, they seemed to have become smaller. They looked like they were only 8 years old. It looks like it was just a dream. The girl thought that she was 18 years old. And it looks like this nightmare lasted a very long time. The girl's name is Luana, and she is the princess of the empire. The girl is one of the twin children of the emperor and his concubine. Although she grew up with the title of princess, her mother hated her for no apparent reason. The girl's life was completely different. Even the dream that the girl had, in which her mother loved only her son, and never even smiled at the girl. When the mother started yelling at her, everyone became rude to the girl, because if someone protects her, the empress can simply kick them out or even kill them. The girl did not understand why she felt that something bad was about to happen. She felt that her mother would come soon. And she will be very angry with the girl. Then, suddenly, the girls begin to knock very loudly on the door, after which her mother comes out, who immediately starts yelling at her. She yelled at her because the girl touched her son's cake, which is his birthday today. She grabbed the girl and told her that on another day she would have forgiven her, but what she did today she would never forgive her. She said that her punishment would be very severe. The girl could not believe what was happening to her. She was sure that she had already gone through this. It was the worst thing that happened to her 10 years ago. It was at that moment that one of the maids accidentally ruined the cake, but the girl was blamed. It was disgusting, but the situation that the girl had in her dream was very scary. The girl assumed that this nightmare was actually a prophecy. If so, perhaps everything that was in a dream is a reality that will come true when the girl is 18 years old. The girl was so scared that she was already sick, because of which she lost consciousness, but she was awakened. After that, her mother approached her and told her that if she wants to live, then she must listen to her. She told her that if the girl was quiet and calm, then everyone would love her. She said that she would close the door and that the girl would not even think about running away from her room. And the whole situation again seemed very familiar to the girl. Perhaps all this is due to the dream she had. She was locked in her room for several days, and her dream was repeated over and over again every time she remembered it. The girl was very hungry. She did not know how many days she had not eaten or drunk anything. She does not remember everything, but she knew for sure that it cannot be that the same dream is constantly dreamed. She didn't know why everyone hated her so much. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she saw that she was not at all like her mother and even her father. Everyone was confused when she was born. The reason why her mother treats her this way is probably precisely this. And the girl knew for sure that if this dream was prophetic, then she needed to avoid death at all costs. Indeed, in the visions, the girl did not know the future, but it is possible that in a dream there was another life for the girl. And the girl immediately began to run to the only one who could help her. The girl's father is an emperor. And if his mother asked him for something, he would unconditionally do it. Therefore, he will not be able to help the girl escape and will not open it. Her father never visited her since the birth of the girl. If the girl wants to survive, she must meet another emperor. The family tree of the Luan imperial family is very confusing. The emperor is an illegitimate child. Everyone denied the ascension of a woman on a throne. Therefore, the princess could not seize the throne with her own hands. She married a prince of a distant empire who became the ruler of her homeland. As empress, she had to give birth to an heir to the throne, a real ruler from the empire. She is an empress by right. The girl's brother Louis does not look like a girl at all. His blonde hair and blue eyes confirmed that the girl was the heiress of the imperial family. She was sure that if the empress saw her, she would be sure to protect her. But this woman was the one that her mother hated very much. The girl's door was closed. She didn't know what to do. She decides that first she needs to find her. The girl screamed for someone to answer her if someone could hear her. She knocked on the door and tried to open it, but no one heard her. Suddenly, as soon as the girl screamed and held the door handle, she opened herself. After that, Luana decides to hide so that no one will notice her. If a girl comes out, she will be immediately noticed because of her hair. And the girl needed something to hide behind. She took the curtain and took cover. Then she made her way to the street. The girl did not know where the princess's palace was and whether she could find it, but she remembered her dream and understood that she needed to run. Today the girl left her house for the first time and went outside. Immediately at the exit, the girl saw some kind of maze of bushes. She ran into it. She was very scared. Suddenly, the girl heard that someone was following her, but she did not want to stop and hope that it was just her imagination. Suddenly, the girl begins to smell flowers, which is very familiar to her. Then someone starts telling the girl that she chose the wrong path. It had to be her mother, as she had a very strong floral scent. Suddenly the girl sees a boy on the field, Louis, brother of the Gemini of Luana, the second prince of the empire. The girl thinks that she has already been noticed, but suddenly some guy comes up behind her and closes her mouth. The boy at that time played with his mother. Mother treated him very well. She never treated a girl like that and did not talk to her smiling. The girl also wants to be loved. Because of what the girl starts to cry. The guy who grabbed her and closed his mouth was confused, because he thought that she was crying because of him. He said that he saw the girl trying to hide, so he decided to help her. And he invited her to talk. After that, when Luana calmed down, she asked him who he was. The girl had the feeling that she had already seen him somewhere. Luckily, this guy spotted her before the knights did. It seemed to the girl that she had already met him. He was exactly like the man in the dream who tried to wake the girl up when she was killed. After the guy said hello, he said that he was here because he was invited to a birthday party. Everyone told this guy to be friendly to the prince, but it annoyed him. If not for the order of the empress, he would not have appeared here. The guy wanted very much to get to know the princess, but unfortunately he could not find her anywhere. When the guy looked at the girl, he saw that she was wearing a robe. She probably wanted to run away from here. But he did not want to disturb her, and they were glad that he was not the only one who did not like this holiday. He thought that the girl also thought so. The girl decides to ask the guy why he is looking for a princess. To which he replied that the empress invited all the nobles, which means that the little princess will also appear at the party. He thought so, and hoped that she would come here anyway. The guy always thought that the empress was not her mother. When a girl is 8 years old, she can join noble societies and deal with it, and today is her 8th birthday. Since it was the princess's 8th birthday, he also brought a gift for her with him. The girl remembered that today is the prince's holiday, which means that her birthday is at the same time as his. And the girl realized that they came to her birthday not only to congratulate the guy, but before congratulating and seeing the girl. Suddenly, the girl accidentally said that it was her birthday today too. And the guy heard this, after which he said that today the girl was lucky, because he thought to give it to His Majesty the princess, but he would give it to her. He took out a very beautiful bracelet from the box and put it on the girl. The guy made this bracelet himself. The guy never found out that the girl was actually a princess, and thought that he gave it to an ordinary girl, since today is her birthday too. After that, the guy said goodbye to the girl and left. When the guy was leaving, the girl noticed a button on his shirt. There is a shield on which a flower was depicted. The girl was interested in what family and guy. And the girl decides when she finds the Empress, she will immediately go looking for this guy. And they will meet again. And then she learns his name. At this time, the son of the Empress Loudon Belcom, who is 18 years old, refused to go to the feast of the princess and the prince. His friend Adam said that the princess and the prince are his young brother and sister. Even the aristocrats did not ignore this holiday as he does. But the prince did not agree with this. He said that he was the only heir to the Empress, and these two had false statuses. The reason Loudon hates those kids is because of the suffering and trauma he suffered as a child. The concubine Liliana cheated on the emperor. After which he went crazy. He began to neglect the affairs of the empire. He left the Empress to go live with this concubine in the palace one-on-one. And after a while he stopped visiting his old son altogether. The concubine took away the beloved father from the guy. And in the end, this boy was left all alone. But Adam still wanted him to go to the birthday party. He said what he heard, that the princess had blonde hair and blue eyes, just like the heir to the imperial dynasty. But the guy did not believe in it, and said that it was all a lie. The emperor has regular brown hair and pale blue eyes. And the concubine has a completely different hair color, red. And it's not possible for a girl to have white hair. He thought that all these rumors were false and would not help him get closer to the emperor's family. If the princess really were like that, she would never have been able to stay there. The guy has long wanted to change the law that a woman cannot inherit the throne. Because of the stupid rule, so many people are suffering right now. The Empress is now only responsible for state affairs, and she cannot rule the empire. Simply because she was born a woman. Unfortunately, they are unable to change this. The guy wanted to change this law after he became emperor in the first place. But suddenly they saw a hand from the bushes, and heard the voice of a girl who was screaming for help. After that, Luana climbs out of the bushes and she saw the prince there. She did not understand what he was doing there and was very scared. The maids in the palace said that the prince was a very cold and bad person. Rumor has it that he hates anyone who is in any way connected with her mother. He even publicly insulted her son the prince. Meeting this man will turn into a real problem, the girl thought. The prince approached the child to see who she was. The girl was frightened and thought that she was noticed and now she would be taken back to her room. The prince assumed that the rumors he had heard were true, but he did not understand why the girl was there. He thought that she was laughing at them. Also, on the way, the girl dropped her robe, because of which she was immediately recognized. Adam immediately realized that this is a princess, but her dress is dirty and her hair is disheveled. The shoes didn't fit, but she was supposed to enjoy her birthday today. The princess was frightened as if she was being pursued. And the girls had no choice. She shouted to them that she wanted to meet the Empress. But Loudon replied that there was no reason for this. But his friend protected the girl, and he does not understand why the prince behaves so badly with a little girl. The prince was angry with this little girl because she was the daughter of the woman he hated. The girl with the last strength said that she was hungry. Perhaps now this is her last chance. She should speak more clearly, but she could not. Her body is already running out, from which the girl lost consciousness. Loudon told his friend to take her to the territory of the Empress, and in no case did they carry her to the imperial palace. Since she is the daughter of that woman, he did not want to do her any favors. But his friend yelled at him and told him not to act like a jerk. Although the boy also hated the woman with red hair, the princess was still the boy's younger sister. He must face the truth. The guy heard that she was 8 years old. But compared to her peers, she is small and jaded. Her body is weakly emaciated, and her clothes have long since worn out. And yet, she has scars and wounds that she hides under her clothes. Surely there is a reason why one guy is happy to spend his birthday and the second is abused. Loudon agreed to take the girl to the doctor. She didn't look like the second prince. Perhaps they treat their son well because he looks like a mother and the girl does not. The girl did not understand where she was being carried, but she did not have the strength to say or do something. And so the girl was brought, put on the bed and the doctor came. He said that for her treatment it is best to use this ointment. Otherwise, there are no serious problems with the girl, but the girl is clearly not eating enough and is starving. Loudon was shocked by what the doctor said. He did not know what happened to the girl and because of what she could starve. The doctor also asked whose child it was. When he looked at her, he understood that the girl looked like a prince. He thought that the prince was trying to hide her. But the prince did not understand why the doctor was looking at him like that. The doctor said that he should not worry. If now you start feeding the girl well, then she will be fine. The doctor said that she was a descendant of the crown prince, and she should get better soon. Loudon could not understand what the doctor was talking about. But he's not stupid. And the more he looked at the girl, the more he realized that she looked like the crown prince. He asked Loudon if the Empress knew this girl. To which he replied that he did not tell his mother, she did not know anything about it. To which the doctor replied that the guy could not hide it forever, and it would be better if they told her everything. The boy's mother remained in the palace after the death of her daughter. If she sees the princess now, it will remind her of the tragedy. Also, the doctor was asked what he thinks about the age of the child. He looks much different than his age. To which the doctor replied that a girl for 4 years looks quite normal and there is no need to worry. But everyone was shocked because they knew that the girl was actually 8 years old. The girl looked like she was still very young, and he did not understand how the crown prince had a small 8-year-old child. Loudon's friend replied that the girl with red hair was not a stranger, she was his sister. Loudon did not understand how it was possible to have a child at that age, and the possible reason that the girl looks young is because she is not fed. Loudon does not understand why the girl was treated so badly. He sent funds to the Empress all the time so that she would take care of the children. A separate budget was introduced for her son, but she always asked for money for 2 children, which they did. But he thought she was spending it on her daughter. She seems to be a very disgusting mother, and communicated with her as if not with her daughter. Perhaps she uses all means to please her son. If you think about it, then the amount spent on the prince is very huge. She recently hired a knight from another country to teach swordsmanship, several professors from a prestigious academy, and a famous tutor from a Trier royal palace. Adam said that he could take her daughter. He wanted to convince the Empress that the girl was not her daughter. But suddenly the maid says what she wants to educate and take care of Luana, even after what her mother did to her. She replied that everything would be all right, she would look after the crown prince's sister, Maria, along with the butler to deal with this. She can become the main maid of Luana. You can be sure that the girl is in good hands. The girl needs to be safe and they decide to leave the baby with her. Adam also had to find out about what was happening in the mansion and about what they were doing with the girl. Whether or not to inform the Empress, they will decide later. The prince was worried that his mother would feel bad because she would see the princess and begin to worry very much. Although a lot of time has already passed, the Empress is finding it harder and harder to come to her senses. But in any case, Luana should not leave a bad impression, after which they all left. After a few hours, the girl began to feel something. She was very comfortable and her bed was very soft. She immediately woke up and did not understand where she was. When she looked around she saw a very beautiful and golden room. She assumed that her mother hadn't exactly taken her because she wouldn't let her be here in comfort. And this meant that the girl managed to do what she planned. The girl decided to get up and look around. Even the slippers were very soft and comfortable, but she still did not know what this place was and whose room it was. The last thing the girl remembered was that the crown prince yelled at her, after which she lost consciousness. The girl went out into the corridor, and there were incredibly beautiful paintings. The place where she is now cannot be compared with where she used to live. In addition, she had other clothes. It looked like someone had changed her clothes. Suddenly, the maid approaches the girl, because of which she is frightened and almost fell, but the prince managed to grab her. Maria introduced herself and said that she would take care of the princess and she was the personal servant of the crown prince. The girl was shocked that she would look after her. It looks like the prince kidnapped her when she tried to escape from her mother. She thought that she would die here and wanted to run away. But when she looked up, she saw the prince who began to ask her who she thinks he was, because of which the girl fell. The maid suggested that she simply did not have the strength to stand and perhaps she needed to eat. But the girl began to hold on to the prince and ask him for help. The prince looked at her and apologized for frightening her. The girl was at the maximum incomprehension since the crown prince was always known for his intimidation and power. and now he apologizes to her. The prince picked up the girl and carried with him. He asked the girl along the way what she wanted to eat, to which the girl remembered her dream where she was very tasty and what she ate was very sweet. The prince suggested that it was dessert. The girl did not remember anything, except for the moment of death at the hands of her mother. But the prince said that now she can't have dessert, and he will give her whatever she wants as soon as she gets better, and now they should eat something else. And the prince suggested to the girl that she choose her favorite soup. The girl did not know what to choose, because in her whole life she had an ordinary soup that she ate the same one all her life. She hoped that later they would bring her dessert and she would try it. She hoped that when she tried it, it would be possible to remember the event from the dream, and remember the face of the man who offered her sweets. The prince brought the girl to a very huge and beautiful hall. For the girl, the maid had already prepared a place where she would eat. The girl was scared and uncomfortable because she thought that she was creating inconvenience. She was shocked that she could eat here. When the girl sat down at the table, she seemed much smaller than the table. The prince did not understand what was happening with the chair, to which the maid replied that she was very sorry, but she chose it in accordance with the age of the princess. The next time the prince told her to choose a higher one. When the girl heard that next time everything will happen. She is at home, that today she no longer eats. But suddenly the prince took her in his arms and began to feed her soup. She did not understand what was happening here, but suddenly she felt a very pleasant taste. She was surprised that she was now eating soup. Whenever she ate it, it was cold and tasteless. The prince was also surprised that she ate healthy soup with great pleasure, as children of her age never want to eat soup. The girl ate her soup very quickly, after which she asked for some more if the prince did not mind. But if it brings inconvenience, then she does not need to bear anything. Luden did not understand why she was so worried about the usual soup and all sorts of little things. Selina and Aisel were completely different, to which the girl apologized and said that she was the first to eat something like that, so it happened. The prince was surprised, as healthy soup is a common meal that even commoners can afford, but it looks like she never ate it. The prince also offered the girl a very tasty cocoa. If the doctor allows her, he will treat her tomorrow. The girl agreed and they shook hands. After that, the prince took her in his arms and carried her to her room. The girl was scared and she said what she herself could reach. She thought that he would take her back to her mother, but she wanted to get out and find the Empress. After that, the prince brought the girl to her room. She was in complete shock when she saw the room. She was very big, beautiful and pleasant. Maria did her best to decorate it. The girl was laid on the bed, after which the prince told the girl that he was her brother Loudon, not so irresponsible as to leave her little sister alone. Although she is not a pureblood, she is still a member of his family. He also told the girl that if she did not mind, then she could think about staying in this room to live. The girl was at a loss as to why everyone was so kind to her. If it continues like this, she will get used to it. When the prince was already leaving, he saw Adam. The prince did not understand why he returned. Adam was afraid that the prince was in trouble. Adam, even though his sick brother was waiting for him, stayed late. I'm sure he's worried about the girl. Adam told the prince that he thought that Loudon was not the kind of person who would take out his anger on a defenseless child. The prince told him that he was already tired, and decided to remain alone. Adam also added that he brought a small gift. Then he took out a bottle of wine. He contacted the palace and asked to send this drink. This elven wine that Adam brought was a gift from the imperial palace. They were making amends for a past incident they had. Maria and Adam lost their father due to the actions of the red-haired empress. It was a bloody horror because of her. The prince lost his teacher. Luana is his younger sister, but she is also the daughter of his enemy. Adam poured him wine, and added that he should not worry about trifles. After that, the prince tried it and said that he would definitely avenge his teacher. The next morning, the girl was very sleepy, but she thought that if she did not wake up quickly, then she would again be in trouble from the maids, which caused her to jump out of bed. Then she remembered that she was no longer sleeping in her bad room. Maria immediately approached the girl and offered her cocoa. It was promised yesterday by the crown prince. The girl drank cocoa and she really liked it. The maid said that His Majesty the Prince arrived early in the morning and gave it to Mary. Maria had never seen him like this before. The girl was shocked that the crown prince himself brought cocoa for her in the morning. He hates everything to do with her mother. But he is kind to her even though she is her daughter. She did not understand how she dared to accept everything that he did for her. The kindness that surrounded the girl in this palace was as unusual as possible. The girl did not know what would happen to her if she lost her. She hoped that this would not happen. Maria said that the girl could just call her by her first name, to which the girl replied that she could just call her Luana. The girl had been thinking since yesterday that the maid had prepared this room for her. And it was true that the maid herself prepared this large room for the girl. The girl did not understand why she needed all this, and whether they were going to give her all these amenities. Maria replied that she grew up with the crown prince from birth. He is very straightforward and, unlike the princess, there is no affection and tenderness in him. And Maria cannot believe that he has such a sweet and kind little sister. The prince was surprised that the maid thought so of him, he said, and approached her. To which the maid boldly answered him so that he would not frighten her, so she had already told him this not for the first time. It seems that Maria will not let herself be offended. Adam agreed with her and told his ass that he thought so too. The prince did not understand what Adam was doing here. To which he replied that he brought a gift, since yesterday was the birthday of the princess. He had little time, but he hopes that she will like it. He took out a toy and gave it to the girl. This was her second birthday present. The bracelet she received was a gift from someone she didn't even know. If it wasn't meant for her, this guy would still give it to someone else. But the hair was exactly for her, and she was very glad and very grateful that for the first time in her life she received a gift. The girl was pleased, but unfortunately her mother did not treat her like that. Suddenly the girl starts crying. Maria came up to her and asked what happened to her, to which she replied that she was fine. The girl wanted to always live so happy. Thanks to this kindness, completely unfamiliar to her, her feelings spontaneously sharpened and she began to cry. Adam gave the girl a chocolate bar and she stopped crying and calmed down. The prince did not understand how he knew what to do in such situations. To which Adam replied that he has a sister, she is younger than him. And it is very easy to calm the children. My sister is 2 years younger than my boyfriend. Aisel is not healthy, unlike her brother, she is doomed to sit at home all day. Adam always tries to devote a lot of time to her. Maria got angry because she can't eat chocolate. To which she replied that they will not do this forever. In fact, Maria doesn't think anyone here can take care of a child of Luana's age, and she offered to tell everything to the prince's mother. To which he replied, no. Maria answered that sooner or later she would find out about it anyway. To which Adam decided to recall what happened earlier. Mary then apologized. Once upon a time, the prince's mother often fainted. For several months she did not sleep every night. After the shock she had experienced, she could no longer exist. His mother did not want to continue living. After that, he became especially attached to little girls. Even to a 5-year-old Selenium. If she was bullied the same way as Luana, then the prince is sure that it would be a big shock for his mother. Since he became the crown prince, it is easy for him to control the people around him, but rumors can spread throughout the capital at any moment. Someone could sympathize with her, because her own mother treats her badly, but unfortunately this will not be all. Most are justified by the fact that dirty blood flows through the girl. The honor of the girl will be thrown to the floor and humiliated as much as possible. And after that, she will have to return to her real mother, who will continue to mock her all her life. The prince's mother will recover in a few days and they should wait a bit. When the time comes, he will talk to her about it. And now the prince has to go, because he still has a lot of unfinished papers on his desk. Mary will take care of the princess. She will take responsibility and look after her. The next day, Maria fed the girl soup. The girl had a very incomprehensible expression on her face, which made the maid think that she did not like the soup. But it was not so. The girl replied that she was eating such a delicious dish for the first time. But now she also wants some sweets, because yesterday the maid confiscated all the chocolate from the girl because she was not allowed to. Maria's cocoa is very tasty. In general, all the treats from her were excellent. The maid left the girl alone, as she needs to mind her own business. The girl wanted to call Mary. But she thought that someone else would come. Every time she entered the kitchen, all the people were curious about her. And looked at her with contempt. They constantly discussed her, but she knew that she had to ignore all this. And then Adam knocked on her door. The girl opened the door for him, after which he began to examine and ask if Mary was here. He said that he came here to give the girl chocolates. He also added that the prince is very busy in recent days and it is difficult for him to find time to look at the girl, but he asked me to convey what will come soon. The girl thanked Adam very much for bringing her sweets. Adam very much apologized for the fact that the prince could not come, but for a girl, and so it was good. She saw her mother only once a week. There were times when she disappeared for months. Suddenly, Maria comes up behind. Everyone was in shock. Adam immediately said that it was not what she thought, to which Maria smiled and said that she should have come earlier. Then she laid the table, on which there were a lot of sweets. She said that the girl was already allowed to eat delicious food and she could eat it all. The girl looked at the food and her eyes burned. For the first time in her life she sees such beauty, and now she can eat it. She tried one thing and for her it was something magical. She thought that this is heaven in which she is now. Maria said that this is a gift that she made for Luana herself. The girl was not welcomed properly when she arrived here, so she decided to make her such a present. Suddenly, a prince appears behind Mary, who tells the girl that she eats too much. Due to the fact that he suddenly came, Maria was again frightened and shouted at him, and the girl was frightened of him and asked him to knock next time. The girl has become much bolder. The prince said that this is his palace, and she is visiting him. So he'll think about it if she asks more politely, to which the girl replied that she thought that Luden was a good person, but she was probably wrong. Adam also told the prince that he should stop teasing the girl. Then he took out a box from his pocket, in which there was another gift for the girl. It was a very beautiful chicken. The girl really liked it, and she was grateful. The prince is glad that the girl is well here. She is the only process empire. The girl accidentally said out loud that someone could just manipulate with the doll that she was given. The girl was already very upset, scared because she thought that she would now be sent to her mother. But the prince did not scold her. He replied that perhaps the girl was just joking. In any case, he told her that she should not eat much, as she was still completely cured. Come to think of it, the prince would never be angry with a girl. Except for their first meeting. Although the girl thinks that even then he was not evil. The girl decides to check if he hates her. She says that she really liked the chocolate cake and she wants to eat it, but it is far away. And asked for help from the prince. But even considering that the prince told the girl not to eat a lot, he still complied with the girl's request. Adam began to feed the girl cake. And the girl noticed that the prince is really not so bad. The next day, the prince came to the palace of the Empress. Adam did not understand why he came here. But the prince replied that he should tell the news to his mother as soon as possible. Several days have already passed and the time has come to tell her everything. At the entrance they were immediately noticed by Countess Chart. She, too, was confused as she didn't know why the prince had come here. And the prince answered that he had come to see his mother. The countess said that the Empress is now taking care of her daughter. The prince did not like this very much, since the girl's mother must raise her herself, since she is a wife and mother. But Her Majesty cherishes her daughter very much, and he cannot be against it. He told the countess not to think of anything bad to plan, after which he left. She didn't like it very much, she thought that the Empress was madly in love with her daughter. And the prince should treat her like his little sister. But the prince hated her. The countess wanted her daughter to become Her Majesty's successor. And she wanted to do everything to make it happen. And so the prince came to his mother. Mother was very surprised because now was not the time for him to come. But she was glad that he came. He said that he wants to tell something, but for this, the girl must leave, as they must talk in private. The girl went up to the prince and said what she also wants to hear, and she is his younger sister. To which the prince replied that he had only one sister. But with anger, the girl answered that now she was gone, and now only she remained. The prince removed his hand from the girl, after which he told Selina that her mother was just sorry for her, and she misunderstood everything. And nothing from this palace will be hers. The prince's mother said that even though she loves her, this time she went too far. Then she sent the girl to her mother. And said that she would never forgive her for this. After Selina was taken away, the prince began a conversation with his mother. His mother is the one who will sway in the wind but never break. Despite the refusal of the previous emperor and the appearance of a concubine, she fiercely defended her position. The prince said that a few days ago he found a girl near Liliana's palace. She was wearing shabby clothes, her whole body was covered with scars and abrasions, as if someone had beaten and humiliated her for a very long time. She is very thin. Now he is looking after her and lately she has been better. But this girl is Liliana's daughter. Mon was surprised, and asked how they reacted to the girl in the palace. The prince had not been there for several days, so he did not know. But I heard rumors that the girl's mother treated the child harshly. Mom said that he should have told about everything earlier, and now she wants to see the girl. Although she was sure that this child was not the one she gave birth to, she wanted to look at him. Luana. She is the daughter of the emperor's concubine, one of the twins. When the prince saw her for the first time, it seemed that at that moment his heart stopped. She looked exactly like a dead child. And when Luana opened her eyes and smiled, she immediately fell into his soul. And so they approached the door of the girl. She was afraid to enter and she tried to talk somehow. She asked how the girl was feeling, to which the prince replied that she loved sweets very much and now she was doing very well. Unfortunately, she doesn't say a word. And then suddenly Luden opened the door so that his mother would not stand near the door for eternity. When they entered the room, they saw that the princess was sleeping. The maid Maria told that she is now 8 years old, not so long ago she had a birthday. It's hard to believe that she's so grown up because she looks so small. Since the girl was sleeping, and it is not clear when she will wake up, they decided to go to the prince's office. They called the servants to their room, and showed a piece of paper where a full report was written on what budget was allocated for the girl and for the palace. The servants were asked why the palace was in such a bad state. But he knew nothing about it, and he had no words to express his regret. Mom's reaction was unexpected. She said that as an empress, she takes responsibility for this palace. And from today, she will manage the budget for the princess. In the future, they will review the powers of the concubine with which she was endowed. And she also added that if the concubine comes to visit the girl, the prince should immediately inform her, because she needs to talk to her. Suddenly they heard a childish voice near the door, and a knock on the door. When they went out they saw that Luana was near the door. She came here because she woke up but she did not find Maria anywhere. She really wanted to eat. The prince suggested to his mother that they have dinner together. To which she agreed. The girl was at a loss when she saw her. She did not understand why she was here. But she knew one thing for sure, the empress would never hurt her, but she would never love her either. The girl did not know how such an emperor could show warm feelings for someone like Luana. Maybe she's upset because she's around her son. The girl wanted to ask the empress for help, but she was afraid that she would hate her. She decides to tell the prince to bring her down to earth. But in the end, he carried her in his arms to dinner. The prince did not understand why the girl was acting very cold, and why she was kicking all the time when he carried her here. She herself wanted to see her mother, but now she is simply silent. Loudon cut the girl's meat, because she herself could not. His mother was surprised that her son could be so kind. She didn't remember him being so friendly with a stranger. She doesn't seem to know her son very well. She couldn't believe it. He treated the girl in a different way. He had always been indifferent to Selena, and besides, he always drove Louis away. Mom assumed that it was the princess. If you look at her more closely, you can understand that she does not look like a Liliana at all. If the child of the empress were alive, perhaps he would look the same. For some reason, when the prince's mother looked at the girl, she remembered her dead child. This is wrong and she wanted to stop, but the girl was too similar. When you bring dessert to the girl, she decides to give it away based on the fact that she does not want it. The girl said that she was sorry that she was the only one who liked all this delicious food. She decided to give the prince a try too. But the prince did not want to eat. To which his mother replied that Loudon should be careful with what he says. Luana doesn't care. She hoped he didn't treat her as roughly as he treats everyone else. To which the mother was told that Maria was looking after the Loire, and there was no reason to worry. After that, the empress offers the girl to leave with her and live with her. She offered the girl a lot of sweets if she came with her. The girl didn't know what to do. She didn't know why she didn't want her to stay here. It's better for her to be with the empress than meet your mother. But she decides to answer that she wants to stay here. At first, her being with guys didn't mean anything to her, but she got used to this place. Most importantly, His Highness the Crown Prince, Mary and Adam have become like family to her, and they are all here. But the Empress did not mind, as she respected her wish. Suddenly, the maid Maria comes up to her. She was very frightened and said that she wants to tell some news. But they decided to take the girl to another room, since children should not listen to the affairs of adults. After everyone left, and the maid was left alone with the Empress, she told that Liliana's servant was looking for Luana. Perhaps it was Liliana who ordered them when she noticed that the girl was not there. The servant did not know this. Several maids searched the area. This angered the Empress, because instead of doing palace affairs, they were arbitrarily behind her back. Because of this, the meeting with Liliana will have to be postponed. Also, in the end, she decides to ask Maria what kind of sweets the girl likes. The next day, a lot of sweets were brought to the girl's room. All this was sent to her by order of the Empress. Maria did not think that the Empress would send so many things. There was also a box on the table. It looks like a gift. Maria said that these were sweets, and the girl had never tried them before. This is the most delicate dessert that literally melts the vort. It looks most appetizing. The girl recalled how she used to eat sweets, only she ate them in a dream. It was very tasty, but not as described by Maria. And so Maria gave the girl a candy. It was sweet and sour. It seems the girl understood what she meant when everyone grabbed these sweets. She had never eaten sweets with such a taste before. Also, the jar was made of crystal. And she's very expensive. This material is valued not because it is a precious stone. It also contains a large amount of mana. The girl was surprised that such an expensive gift had been made for her. But everything that was given to her was handed over by the Empress herself, and it would not be good to refuse it. The girl did not know why she sent all these gifts. She still couldn't stop thinking about the bad outcome. Maybe it's because she didn't feel such kindness before, and it is inconvenient. Suddenly she will do something wrong and everything will not go according to plan. She was afraid that all that she now receives will someday end, and she will be sent back to her mother. Maria also said that as expected, the girl liked the sweets. The Empress would be happy to know this. But the girl was sad, and she did not understand what she had done in order to earn praise from the Empress. The girl hated herself for not believing that their intentions were sincere. She can give nothing in return, because she has nothing. Maria answered her words by saying that children of her age always received such gifts, and were always content with them. But if she so insists, she can thank the Empress with words and that will be enough. She also added that if you call her mom, she will be even more delighted. Perhaps this is a joke. But if you think about it, His Highness the Crown Prince has done a lot for her, and she is very grateful. The Empress and the Crown Prince who treat her very well, she would like to thank. Mary also said that she was surprised that the prince turned out to be an angel. Luana was upset that the Empress and the prince could hate her at any moment. But she replied that she should not think so, since everyone who sees her will be fascinated just like her. The girl has only the name princess, but there is nothing behind it. Maria is the only daughter of the count. She heard that in front of Maria crowds are exhibited with her, and now she takes care of such a child as a girl. And she is happy that she is caring for the girl. Maria also told the girl that she is now the second largest in this empire. Her mother doesn't mean anything here now since she was not a member of the imperial family. Neither the Empress, who has great power, nor the prince who once put his father on the throne. No aristocrat would want to make a baron's daughter. Empress, the only woman who is worthy of this family member of the imperial family, is Empress Arya. And Luana. If she is worried about getting so many gifts, she can do something for the Empress as a token of gratitude. And Maria decides to prepare some cookies for her. The dough is ready and all they have to do is knead it and bake it. Maria thought that the Empress would like any gift that a girl would give her. They also add chocolate chips that she likes. They will make the cookies so delicious that whoever tries them will be sure to ask for more. And the girl agrees so, and so she will show that grateful she was happy because now she will be able to give something in return for all her gifts. And so they went to the kitchen together to make cookies. But for some reason, she did not like the cookies that the girl made. It was ugly. Maria's cookies turned out to be very beautiful, even considering that they cooked in the same forms and from the same dough. The girl did not think that what she cooked would be delicious, she just wanted to throw it away. But Maria encouraged her and said that it looks appetizing. Considering that the princess tried herself, the Empress herself will definitely remember this. The girl did not know who might like such unsightly scenarios. And then she remembered that she wants to treat another person. It's not as pretty, but she needs to be bolder. And so the girl came to Adam in order to give him cookies. He was delighted that the princess gave him something made with her own hands. And he was grateful that she made cookies in the form of raccoons and they are very cute. But even considering that they were witches, the girl was glad that he was pleased. He was happy because the girl made them herself. Also suddenly the prince comes to them and he was indignant. Adam immediately approached him and offered him a cookie that Luana had made herself. But the prince answered that they are not cute and this is hell, to which Adam replied that he needed to look closer. They are perfect and even her sister will love them when she sees them. Adam did not think that someone could create something that would suit his taste. It is rather difficult to do so. And the prince said that Luana is not a very good cook. And suddenly Maria decides to remind that these cookies look very familiar, they are similar to those that he made as a child. Both the girl and the prince were shocked. The prince had the same cooking skills as the girl. They used to make cookies together when they were very young. They wanted to make cookies in the shape of a bear, but it didn't work out very well. Maria assumed that their cookies are so similar because they are brother and sister, and smiled after what she said. And the maid invites the prince to look at the cookies again. And when he looked again, this time he said that by looking more closely he could say that they look stunning and the girl has talent. Maria received the answer that the girl wanted to hear from His Majesty. The prince did not understand why the girl was trying to find something in common between them, to which the girl replied that she would work hard and was sure that she could do better than her brother. The guy was at a loss from the fact that the girl called him brother. Luana said this by accident and called His Highness her brother. She did not know what to do. Perhaps this is considered insolence. The girl should apologize, but the words stuck in her throat. But everything went too far, after which the principal took the girl in his arms and smiled for her. It was already too much. Instead of being angry at her, they smiled at her. Then the prince put the girl to sleep in his arms. The prince carried the girl into the room. The girl fell asleep holding His Majesty's hand. From their first meeting, the prince feels something strange. He knows that she is the daughter of a concubine, but for some reason he thinks of her as a little sister. Besides, this girl calls him brother. Now the guy smiles unconsciously. When the girl grows up, maybe she will follow in her mother's footsteps, and the guy will always be with the girl. It's hard to keep your distance. This girl is part of his family. And the next morning the girl opens her eyes, and in front of her she sees the prince. She was at a loss from the fact that the prince was sleeping with her. She didn't remember anything about what happened yesterday. The prince woke up screaming and asked her why she reacted like that every time she saw him. Maria entered the room and said that it was because he seemed intimidating and scary. And she's already talked about it. Suddenly the girl starts crying. The prince does not understand why she is crying. The whole night he held her hand and now she thanks him so much. And also the prince noticed that the girl, after waking up, pretended to be asleep in order to consider the prince. Does she think that they are similar? But he began to make excuses and say something that he did not want to say and so that the girl would forget. But the guy stroked the girl and said that she reminds him of him at a young age. After that incident, the prince got up. He began to look for his cookies, which the girl gave him. The girl thought that he hated him, and thus the princess made cookies for the Empress and Adam. But next time she'll do more for the prince. He must be sad that he could not taste such a delicious treat. The girl suggested that Mary make a treat for the prince if he wants to eat, but when they turned around, they saw that the prince had already left. Perhaps he got angry. The girl offered to practice cooking cookies and make her even His Majesty. It seems she loves it very much. When the girl was here for the first time, her goal was to survive. However, now she cannot live without this palace. Everyone tries very hard to make the girl happy, and she wanted to put more effort into making delicious cookies for them. And to prove to His Majesty and everyone else that there is a benefit from it. At this time, Count Chart came to the Empress. He said that he was very sorry, but his wife and daughter wanted to apologize for their daughter. There is no way they can get into the imperial palace. He said that Selena tries her best to be a good daughter. She cried all night. She was in a lot of pain. He said that if she forgives her this time, then he promises that this will not happen again. The Empress agreed because she is still a child, and she forgives her. She also invited her to have dinner together. After that, a joyful girl ran up to the Empress. She called her mother. And she apologized for her words about the imperial family. When the Empress looked at her, she remembered Luana. Luana seemed very small compared to this girl. She was also very fond of sweets. But unfortunately she can't keep comparing them together. It should not be. Suddenly, a maid comes to the Empress and says that she was given a gift. It was a basket of cookies from Luana. It was a thank you message. She was surprised. She was very pleased that the girl did everything herself. Selena was surprised and suspected something as the Empress was happy with such small things. There was a wide smile on her face. The girl was angry because she did not understand why the Empress liked such ugly cookies. She liked it and she began to say what she had heard that the princess was cooking herself, but some of the cookies were burnt, and this is unhealthy to eat. She insulted the Empress and the girl, after which she took the cookies and threw them away. The Empress was very angry with her. She thought that she had already matured, but she also behaves tactlessly and rudely. Then she said if she insulted her again, she would never forgive her again. Then the maids took her away. Selina remembered the day she first met her aunt, Empress Arya. She was welcomed into her empire, and the Empress was as beautiful as possible. The girl also wanted to be the center of attention and shine like the ocean. And at that moment the Empress became an example for her. From that moment on, she came to her every time the opportunity arose. She was very attentive to her, perceived her as her own daughter, despite the fact that she is just a trifle. And everything was fine. Up to one moment. When the prince did not come and the girl was kicked out. Also, when the girl came out, other members of the empire began to humiliate her. They said that initially the Empress pretended that she loved her, and they said that she would never become a member of the imperial family. And so everyone thinks about the girl. They told her not to think that due to the fact that she received a lot of attention from His Majesty, she could become a princess. If so, then the girl should return to reality. If Luana found out about this, she would be stunned. One of them said that she overheard a conversation in the Empress's palace. It is said that Her Majesty cares for Luana as if she were her own daughter, and Luana treated her to cookies. She looks like a real princess more than anyone. Selina didn't like what they were saying, and she was tired of hearing it. Then she started to run away from them. She thought that the incredible smile of the Empress, all her hair, which is a symbol of the imperial family, does not love her now, but loves some other girl. The girl did not want to be offended. And so she went into the room to her dad, and immediately began to ask him to drive the Empress away. Princess Liana. She was very cruel, since her dad is her cousin, he had to ask for it. She did not like the fact that the Empress treats her so well and does not treat her. And then the next day came, Aryan looked out the window and thought about what was happening with the concubine and red hair. The maid answered that now everyone in her palace is looking for a princess, but they are not succeeding. Everyone keeps it a secret that they have her now, and they don't know Luana. The Empress decided to hand over the budget statement and let everyone know who the recipient was. She wanted to talk to Loudon. Also at this time, Maria picked up a new outfit for the girl. The girl did not understand where all the clothes came from. Maria didn't want to tell her about it now, and asked her what outfit she liked best. Girl don't even know which one to choose, they were all lovely. And also Maria added that soon the girl will be given a designer, and she will be able to choose clothes for herself every day, and make the dress she wants. Also, His Majesty invites the girl to the dinner of the Empress. But this is a secret. Maria heard all this from Emma. Maria thought the Empress liked the cookies very much, but she was happy that the cookies weren't so bad. In any case, the girl went to choose her outfit, and so she found herself the very outfit that looked right at her. Maria also said that the girl could easily go to the palace, since the Empress is also her mother. Although the concubine of the Emperor gave birth to her, the girl still remains a princess. His Majesty is right. So she doesn't have to worry, although she was worried anyway, as it would be wrong for those people who were kinder to her not to worry about anything. And so the girl was dressed in a new outfit. In this outfit of jewelry she did not recognize herself. She was very sweet and beautiful. It remains to put on only shoes. Somewhere Maria saw red shoes. But suddenly the girl remembers her dream, in which the room was covered in blood, there was death, and the girl was in red shoes. And so the girl decides to say that she does not need these shoes. Suddenly, the prince approached her, and he did not understand why the girl did not like the shoes. But if she doesn't like it, she can safely not wear it. He took her in his arms and said that he would wear her all day and they would not be needed. Then he turned around and walked with the girl, as Her Majesty the Empress was already waiting. Maria very strongly asked the girl to wear these shoes. But Loudon stopped her, as he saw that Luana did not like these shoes. And maybe next time she put them on. On the way, the prince asked the girl why she did not like these shoes. To which the girl replied that the shoes were very beautiful. But when she saw the color red, she felt bad at heart. In this case, the emperor said that there would be no more Krasnik's shoes, because she is a princess and no one dares to tell her what to do. Even her mother will not be able to say or do anything to her. If she comes here, then the prince will protect her, and Adam too. It was wonderful. The girl already thought that her fear was gradually disappearing. And so they came to the palace of the Empress. Her palace was the most visited place in the imperial palace. There she performed almost all the work that was assigned. All the people who were there were discussing that the cold-blooded prince was carrying a little girl in his arms. But they also recognized her as Princess Luana. It seems that the rumors that she was born looking like an empress turned out to be true. The crown prince, who was very cold-blooded, took care of her like his sister. The girl was uncomfortable, as there were a lot of looks around her. But the prince answered the girl that he could get rid of them all. After that, all the people began to worship him and greet him. Duke Esteban met them at the entrance. For some reason, he looked at the girl very strongly. She had the feeling that the girl had seen him before, but she did not understand how she knew him. He looked like a boy who gave her a bracelet, but also something that no one could have expected happened on the street. One of Liliana's servants saw that the little girl was with the prince, after which she immediately began to run to the concubine in order to tell her everything. When the girl came in, it was an incredibly beautiful place. This was the reason why they say why the imperial palace is made in such a luxurious style. The first empress was an elf, and she married His Majesty the first emperor. They were very happy together. That is why such a majestic palace was built that symbolized the eternal fate of the spouses. The girl was surprised that elves really exist. The prince answered that they are different from people, and in the future he will definitely introduce the girl to them. Thanks to the empress, they often keep in touch with them. It was incredible and the girl couldn't wait to meet them. Also, suddenly, a maid comes up to them, and she offers to give the girl a tour of the palace. The prince did not expect that she would come to them, he did not even know about it. The maid told him that his mother went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. It was strange for the girl that she was the daughter of scissors, and she was treated well. She thought that the servants of the empress would hate her. But on the contrary, everyone is kind to her. And so they came to the empress. The girl continued to be afraid of her, and was even afraid to say something. After that, the prince and the girl sat on a chair. The empress noticed that the girl did not have shoes, and she did not understand what was happening. The prince said that she was not needed for her, because the prince brought her in his arms. And so they all began to have dinner together. The prince fed the girl from his hands. The girl liked the dish, and it was very tasty. The empress was thinking about feeding the girl too, and she decides to offer her a dessert that she prepared herself. But suddenly a man bursts into their room and starts shouting for the empress to urgently follow him. Luana assumed that it was her mother who came to pick her up. She was scared. But the empress approached the girl and said that she could trust her, and she would come soon. All because she really wants to spend time with her daughter, whom she has not seen for a long time. It was nice for the girl to be called a daughter. These words she had never heard in her entire life. Then the empress left. Earlier, a maid came to Liliana and told everything she had seen. And she immediately got angry. The maid was on her knees, and Liliana gave her paper to read. It was written on paper that from now on, the Empress's palace takes control of all matters relating to Princess Luana in her own hands. And be responsible for it. Liliana was angry at all the maids who let the girl out of the palace, and blamed them for everything. After that, the maid apologized, and left saying that she would be back soon. Liana was angry that the maids helped the girl escape to the Empress's palace. She wanted to punish the girl as soon as she returned, or even kill her. She didn't understand who the little girl thought she was and how dare she leave without her permission. Suddenly, His Majesty approaches her. He asks the girl if she is fine, to which she replies that she is fine and he cannot worry about it and relax. Whereupon she put her hand on his head, and His Majesty began to fall asleep. Liliana was afraid that the girl might tell something strange to the Empress while she was with her. But anyway, she is her daughter. Liliana was sure that since she had taught her since childhood, that she should not tell anyone anything. And sit quietly, because she would not have had the intelligence and courage to leave her and go to the Empress. She considered the girl just a small animal that she had tamed. The prince at this time also began to go to the Empress. The girl asked to go with him, but she was not allowed. Luana said that he could not go to meet her, it could be dangerous if he went alone. And Mom is a terrible person, she tried to kill even a little girl. Besides, she must be angry that she disappeared without her knowledge. If His Majesty meets with her, she can unleash her wrath on him. But the prince replied that he was much stronger than she thought, and there was no need to worry about him. After which he left. And the girl stayed with Mary. And now Liliana had already come to the Empress. She was sitting in the palace and waiting for her. The Empress was late. The servant said that the concubine had come too early, and she should be grateful that the Empress let her into her palace at all. Liliana answered that they treated her here because she was a concubine. She wanted to take revenge on everyone as soon as her son Louis became emperor. The first thing they have to do is destroy this accursed Empress palace. And now, after so much time, the Empress and her son came to her. The concubine was surprised that the prince was also with her. She thought that he was evil and did not care about the girl. She didn't understand why he was here. The prince immediately smiled and realized that she did not expect to see him here. It was hard for her to believe that they were together. She had no idea what the prince would be, since she only wanted to meet the Empress. The Empress asked her what she wanted to hear, and why did she want to see her. Unlike the concubine, she has a lot to do. Liliana starts talking about her daughter missing, to which the Empress replied that she made a deal. And the details about her are in the document she sent her. Liliana answered that she gave birth to her, and no one has the right to take her away and discuss the issue of her. But they did not answer that she was her daughter, and she should take her away, since they do not have the right to keep her with them. To which the Empress said that Luana is a princess, and this means that she can be in the palace, and she, as the Empress, will take responsibility. But the concubine got angry and started screaming that she was the one who raised her and gave birth, and the title of Empress does not give her the right to separate mother from daughter. The prince also entered into the conversation, and began to talk about the fact that Liliana cannot consider herself a mother. With such a terrible treatment of the child, there is not even love in her relationship, and the prince begins to doubt that she is her daughter at all. Liliana began to threaten them, and say that the girl was cowardly from childhood, and she is afraid when her mother is not around. She said to return them until she made them worse. If she doesn't raise her properly and treat her well, then she can't be her mother. They showed her the documents. It was the health reports of the princess during her stay in her palace. All the results were terrible for a child of her age. It is clear that she mistreated the child. So today the princess will stay with the Empress, and Liliana will have to return all the funds that have been allocated for the entire time for the princess. And she started laughing and saying what they really think is because she's just a concubine. She said something she didn't want to say, but she forced her. She knew about the deceased daughter of the Empress. And so she steals children from others, especially those who look like her. Suddenly, the prince noticed that someone in a dress overheard their conversation, after which when he decided to go there to see, he saw only that there was only slippers left. An hour earlier, Maria was with the girl, and even considering that it was already noon, the girl was sleeping. She left food for her to eat when she wakes up. Maria thought that she was sad because His Majesty was gone, and decided to let her sleep. But the girl actually left a hair under the covers. Then she went after the Empress. She could not leave those who saved her next to her mother. She wanted to find them. She didn't know where she should go. And she went around in circles a few times. Because I didn't know where to go. But she was also afraid that she might be caught by the maids, and Maria is probably already looking for her. But still, she couldn't leave the crown prince with her mother. Suddenly, the girl began to see drops of water in front of her. It seemed to her that she should follow them. And when she followed in their footsteps, she came to the prince and found them. She heard that conversation when Liliana started talking about her dead daughter. The girl was upset, and thought that the prince and Empress would now have a big problem because of her. At first, she tried to survive using them. But she got so much love she didn't deserve. She thought that her appearance in the palace in general was a mistake. She considered herself useless, but suddenly she heard a voice that it was not so. After that, an 18-year-old girl from her dreams appears next to her. She said that Luana might not remember her, but it's even good, because she goes the other way. And her future is different from her dream. The future of the girl that she will receive further will depend only on her. After which she disappeared, and the prince followed her. He searched for the princess for a very long time, and could not find it. But the girl told him that she just didn't want the prince and Empress to get in trouble because of her. She said that she did not deserve to be left. But the prince said that there is no difference what happens next, she is still his sister. And he won't give it up. She can do whatever she wants. After the girl heard these warm words, she burst into tears. She was very pleased, and she was grateful for the fact that they took care of. Then, the girl woke up and she did not understand where she was. The prince was next to her. He told her that it was still early to get up and she could continue to sleep. Then the girl fell asleep. Maria entered and did not understand why the girl was still sleeping. And the prince answered that she should be quiet, since the girl had been crying for a very long time, and now she needs to rest. After that, Adam brought the prince information about the princess's jewelry. First, he checked all the merchants who were selling at that time, just in case. He used the information guild. Finding who she was asking for was quite simple. This is the work of the Esteban family. The prince thought that only the Herzen was so cunning, but it turned out that his son was too. He gave the girl an ornament he had seen for the first time. Adam said that for this he should not go unpunished. Maria listened and did not understand anything. The conversation seemed to become very strange and at the same time surprising. After all, the behavior of Luana was far from the behavior of the princess, and it was strange that the boy just gave the girl an expensive piece of jewelry. And she began to assume that this is love. Since Miss Luana is quite beautiful, perhaps he fell in love with her at first sight, the maid said. But this only annoyed the prince, and he told Adam to find out about the duke just in case. At this time, the boy was sitting near the tree, and his father approached him. The boy was afraid that his father would not again begin to persuade him to come to the ball. He was already tired of all these events. But the father decided to go straight to the point. The father told him that the bracelet that the boy lost, he found who has it now. But the guy did not understand how he knew about the bracelet, since he did not say anything about it, and no one saw that he gave it to that girl. The son said something that he was not interested in, and said that he just left because he did not need a bracelet. But his father said that they were lucky that the investigation was from the prince's people, and the princess had the bracelet. And he invited his son to make friends with the princess. The boy's father came to the Empress and did not begin to say that the age difference between his son and the princess was not at all big, especially since he is very obedient and will not cause any trouble to Her Highness. But the Empress replied that she was not going to force the princess to communicate, especially those around her could misunderstand if they were together all the time. But that is why she needs a son. He has the appearance and origin, he has everything to become a suitable match for the princess. And if they converge, then unnecessary claims will be eliminated immediately, and this can get rid of the extra offers that come for the girl. It made sense. The Empress answered what she thought. The father expected a positive response, since this is beneficial to the princess herself, and he will also be able to teach a lesson to the evil mother with red hair and his son, who always climbs where he doesn't need to. Perhaps not now, but in the future, the princess may become his son's first love. And slowly you can think about the place of the prince. At this time, the girl was lying, and Mary approached her. She smiled and said that she did not need to be sad, as Sir Adam would come soon. He said that he would bring gifts for her. He assured Maria that the girl would definitely like the gifts. The girl noticed that Mary is very happy every time when it comes to Adam. And she decides to ask her what is her relationship with Adam. They just often look into each other's eyes and smile widely. The girl wanted everything to work out very well for them. Maria was very shy after this question. Adam interrupted their conversation. The girl immediately ran up to Adam. The prince thought that because of the gifts she did not even notice him. But the girl was curious. The girl wanted to ask about Maria, if he loves her. But Adam suggested that we start by unwrapping the presents, since this is his great work of art, and he gave a lot of gifts for the girl. He did not know what the girl liked, and constantly brought some gifts. But this time there is a 100% chance that she will like it. The girl did not understand how he could know her taste. When the girl baked cookies for him, he realized that their tastes are similar, and henceforth he will give a lot of gifts for her. The girl could not even imagine what common tastes they might have if she had very ugly cookies. The girl was scared that he could bring a gift in the same style as the cookies. She tried to refuse, and to say that since he had put in a lot of effort, it was not necessary to give it to the girl. But he still persuaded the girl to accept, and she had to open it. But as soon as the prince offered to see for herself, she immediately agreed, but the prince began to offer Mary to open it, as he thought that her power of love would withstand everything. But she decided to refuse. And so Loudon decides to open the gift, but as soon as he opened it and looked, he immediately threw it to Maria. And told her to throw it away and burn it. Luana also wanted to look, but for the good of the prince did not allow her. Adam was told not to bring anything else unless the Aesel did so. This gift was offered to her by a familiar girl. She said that the princess would like it 100%, and such an elegant toy would delight her. And he believed her. After that, he listened to the prince, and lowered his head, and Mary began to calm him down. The girl was wondering what was in the box. She felt guilty, because he prepared it especially for her, and the girl still wanted to accept it. But the prince did not allow her to receive. Maria said what Adam said, that he brought the doll, and she thought that it was made by Miss Aesel. And the prince told her that the next time she checked the gifts from Adam. The girl was very interested, and curious about what was in the boxes. But Maria did not allow it, because at night she would have nightmares. The prince offered to give her a present. The gift that he will give her is very valuable and hard to get. Since the prince was going to acquire it anyway. Perhaps he wants to give the girl that very book. Maria began to think that the prince wants to impose his tastes on the girl. After everyone has left, Maria decides to ask the girl if she likes books. To which she did not know what to answer since she did not read much. Maria remembered that the girl was not brought up in the best conditions. If she had a teacher, she could read. She suggested that the girl learn to read together, and she wanted to make a list of books they would read in the library. But the girl was uncomfortable in front of Maria, as she could read, and she wanted to say it. But Maria began to tell the girl that she would read fairy tales for her. The girl could not imagine that someone would read fairy tales to her. In the past, when the girl was very ill and had a very strong fever, no one even bothered about her. But now she remembers those times, and for her it's just a dream. In this life, the girl did not learn to read, and she decides not to tell Mary that she can read. Since she could not say what she learned to read in her sleep. And so Maria brought a lot of books for the girl. These were fairy tales that she would read for the girl. Today she decided to read to the girl about how the first emperor and empress founded states. And so they sat down together, and Mary began to read. A long time ago, there lived a boy in a village. He had golden hair, and they sparkled so much that they were brighter than any light and even the sun. There are a lot of people with golden hair, but they are all different. Once, in the village where the boy lived, a disaster happened. A huge disaster has begun. The boy who fought this disaster met a beautiful elf. She had blue eyes and blue hair and helped the boy defeat his enemies. Luana had already heard this story from her brother. He was talking about the first Empress Elfine. Maria said that the girl inherited her eyes from her. And then the boy suddenly had a childhood friend. The young man built a huge palace, made an offer to an elf. She accepted the offer on one condition. Maria said that perhaps they promised to love each other forever. Then she closed the book and said that was it. Because the story is a bit incomplete. The girl did not understand what the trouble was in the village, and where her childhood friend came from. And what were the conditions of the first empress. It feels like there's a lot of things they didn't want to talk about. But Maria answered that it was just a fairy tale based on rumors. It is unlikely that these are true facts, most likely just fictional details. But to the little girl it all seemed true. Especially that childhood friend with red hair who tearfully congratulated them. I wondered if she really blessed the future emperor-empress. Maria realized that the girl liked this book, since she remembered her words of the word. But the girl also added what she remembers in other episodes. Maria did not understand what she was talking about. Did she really remember the first sentence when the emperor met her childhood friend again? The girl told what she knew, that time had passed, the boy grew up and turned into a young man. The village was deserted, and the inhabitants hardly lived. She told everything correctly, considering that Maria read it only once. Maria thought that the girl was a genius, and she wanted to invite a teacher before starting to teach her. After that, the girl went to the books, and opened one of them. She looked at it and then asked Mary, "Is this kingdom really located in the desert? Sometimes ambassadors come from there. Someday she will be able to visit her," answered Maria. The photo was an illustration of a palace in a scorching kingdom. They say the kingdom itself was founded right here on this place. There was a huge oasis. It was very strange for the girl, since all the pictures were stretched out to her and were familiar. Perhaps in this place she was in a dream. At this time, Adam came to her sister. She said that Luana did not like the gift because they have different tastes. And it must have shocked her. And also she decided to ask what kind of princess is, so lately he often talks about her. Mr. Loudon and Maria treat her well. She became curious about who she was. She wanted to get to know her. And what she was offered to ask the prince or Maria. Now Maria is responsible for her, and she alone does half the work of the prince's castle. And also the girl did not like the fact that they could not scold Liliana. Because of her they lost their father. Everything indicates that she was involved in this, but there is no evidence, only therefore she managed to avoid responsibility. And it's not fair. The girl replies that Luana is not to blame for anything. Adam invited the girl to meet the girl, and he will make an appointment with them. The next day, the prince and Adam were talking. Adam talked about how her sister felt normal. After she passed out in the palace, and until today, everything is the same with her. The doctors say there are no problems. Therefore, there is no need to worry. The prince suggested that he visit them with her in the future. Adam also decided to ask the prince if he was allowed to go somewhere outside the aisles of the Luan Palace. He was not sure since the liana could still hunt the girl, all attention was riveted on the concubine, she could not do anything. But only the prince was worried about the expression on the concubine's face. It was the same face when she realized that the assassination attempt on the prince had failed. This time, Luana is under the protection of her mother. Looks like her mom's plans didn't work out, although not all parents love their children. And the prince never understood her behavior. In any case, the prince will provide the girl with additional protection. Suddenly, a maid enters the room and says that Her Majesty the Empress is calling the prince. Well, the prince came to his mother. His mom suggested that Luana needs friends. The prince was dissatisfied with this statement, but he agreed with her. The empress said that other children of aristocrats are much older in age, and she cannot introduce children from the count's family to her. The empress suggested that the girl befriend the boy who gave her the bracelet. The prince did not want to object, but he also understood that Count Esteban was involved here. Last time, he showed too much interest in the girl, especially since he often used his own son for his own purposes. The empress assumed that her son was just jealous, but he told them that they can think as they want. The empress also said that the prince could not live in his palace all the time, and suggested that he make the palace of Luan Gloria Palace. Gloria, this is the name of the palace, which was located between the palace of the empress and the crown prince. And it was made of white marble. Whoever lived in it, it was a great honor, and it was an honor, so people started calling it Gloria. And this palace was also decorated by the mother for the sake of the unborn baby. It was looked after all the time, so you can go there at any time. The empress will be happy if the girl agrees to live there. Luana was sleeping at that time, but suddenly she appeared in another world. She did not understand where she was, but everything was dark around and there were many stars. She assumed that this was a dream, but for some reason she could not wake up. Shivutu had something very sweet. It was a very tasty dessert that she was looking for and recalled from her dreams. It was handed down by the person opposite, it was also in the style of the sky. She asked him who he was. But as he began to respond, he began to drift away. Then the girl woke up and told Mary that she had a nightmare. It looked like he was really scary, as the girl began to cry. At this time the count was sitting with Madame. He was glad, and something interesting happened to him. He has a white sheet in his hands. Madame was not sure that it was possible to show court documents to everyone. To which he replies that there is nothing special here and this is from the prince. Madame knew that the prince was angry with the count, but in the document she read that he wants to make friends with their son with the princess. Even if their son will communicate closely with the princess, they will not have to contact the concubine. They saw it as a prince who looked after the princess very well, and there was a chance that their relationship could improve after the girl became friends with their son. And for them now the main thing is to get a good result with his son and princess. Madame did not know what was on his mind, and asked to tell more about it, as she needed to know what to talk about at today's tea party. The count knows that the princess's guardians are now the empress. The rest should clear up when his son befriends the princess. After that, they will be able to find out everything about the family of the empress in order to do their business. The count's son at that time was sitting and reading a book. He had very unpleasant feelings, as he had the feeling that someone was remembering him and discussing him not from the best side.